Hello, and welcome to another message from the heart. This is Pastor Mikey with Biker Church USA in Columbia, South Carolina. Have you ever been to a football game and watched what's going on the sidelines? You got players out on the field that start the game. They're your starters, they're first string players. They're the best players on the team. Then you have the people that are on the bench. A lot of people refer to them as bench warmers. They look like they're part of the team. They're dressed like they're part of the team. They have all of the trappings of being part of the team. But yet they're not the ones that's out there playing the game. So my question today is, are you a first string player or are you a bench warmer? You see, in many of our churches today, we have plenty of people that come to church and warm the pews. But when the sermon is over, the last song is sang, they go out the doors, they go home, they take off their Sunday best, and they go back to being who they are the rest of the 6 days out of the week. It wasn't until I got to reading the book of James that it hit me like a ton of bricks that you have to be a first string player. If you're going to be in the faith that you claim, you can't sit and be a bench warmer. You're either in the game or you're not in the game. There's no in between. There's no gray area. In James chapter 1, down at verse 22, it says, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourself. For if anyone is a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, and goes away and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this one will be blessed in all he does." You see, when we accept Christ and we come to the faith, there's something that we have to do. First, we have to learn. You can't do anything without learning. It's like in the football game. Those guys on the field, they can't be there until they have spent plenty of time in practice, learning the schemes, learning how to handle the ball, learning what it is that the coaches are trying to get them to do. It's not until they mastered that the coach now puts them out on the field as first string players, as starters. Once we get to that point where we've learned, then we've got to get into the game. And the thing is, being in the faith, learning the game is an on-job experience. You do it, you learn it as you do it. But all too often, we think that once we accept Christ, that all we're required to do is go to a church, listen to a preacher, and then go home. We think that we can take God, put him in a little box, close the doors, and then come back to him whenever we want to. But I'm going to tell you something. Whenever the last person leaves the church, the doors are locked, the lights are off, all that is a quiet building. Don't mistake and think that God is sitting there waiting for us to come back. No, God follows us out. It says that his spirit dwells within us. Well, if the spirit dwells within us and it goes with us, what does it see? Does it see someone who's just a bench warmer, who doesn't take the time to learn the word, doesn't take the time to do the word, to reach out to others? Does it see our selfish desires to go home and watch the race or the football game, or to watch the show on TV? Or does it find us where we really are? That's a scary thought. Because what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be reaching out. Now granted, not every second of the day are you going to have an opportunity to reach out. However, the life that you live is supposed to exemplify the life that Christ lived. In other words, whenever you become a Christian, whenever you accept the faith, You're supposed to learn and then start living. See, those outside of the church are not going to know what Jesus Christ is unless they see Him living in the rest of us. They're not going to know what it is to be a doer of the Word until they see a doer of the Word. So what do? We take the time to learn. And if there's not anybody around us that's going out, that's having Bible study during the week, that's actually going to the homeless or to the prisons, or reaching out to the youth, or reaching out to those that nobody else would reach out to, then we need to find people that are. And we need to fall in with them. And we need to learn what they were doing. And then we need to do it. And once we do that, we also need to teach it to others. Because as we go out, what's going to happen is people are going to see it. And as we share with them, some are going to be drawn to it. And as they're drawn to it, then they need to be taught how to do it so they can go out and reproduce and bring others in. Folks, if we're not having Bible study where we're learning, if we're not going out into the field and practicing what it is we've learned, then we will never be first string players. We are always going to be sitting on the bench, warming the bench, looking like we're something whenever we're not. So the question for you today is this: are you a first string player? Or are you warming the bench? Because I'm going to tell you something. You're not part of the team if you're not contributing. If you're only there to look like you're on the team, you're not a team member and you're not a team player. You're only there as a wannabe, a hang around. So I'd encourage you to learn, to do, and to become what the gospel claims that we're supposed to become. Folks, until next time, this is Pastor Mikey with Biker Church USA. Thank you.